In this lecture, we're going to learn how we can host WordPress locally for free on our computer, and specifically on Mac in this lecture. We'll show Windows in another lecture. Before we jump into this video, go to training.mammoethinteractive.com. Here you can sign up for the Mammoth Unlimited membership and get access to all of the courses we've ever created. That's over 2,000 hours of content. You can get WordPress by going to wordpress.org/download or just searching up WordPress download. All right, here, this is the official WordPress documentation. We're going to scroll down here and we're going to select to download WordPress, the latest version. We're using 5.8.1 in this course. This will save as a zip file that you'll have to extract. So make sure you extract that zip file, and so now you'll have a folder called WordPress. Here we have a lot of files. We have PHP files, TXT files, HTML files. We have WordPress admin, storing all of our admin dashboard files. We have WP content, a folder that stores plugins and themes. So here's where we will put our own custom themes. You can also inspect any plugins that we have. As well, there is WP includes, another folder full of PHP files. You can scroll down and inspect all the different files. So this is a download of WordPress. Now that we have WordPress downloaded, we can start by creating a simple Hello World theme. So here, to create a new theme, we're going to go into the subfolder WP-content. So enter this subfolder. Here we have plugins and themes. Under themes, you should have the previous 3 years themes. And here is where we can store our own themes. So you just have to right click and create a new folder and give your theme a name. For example, a Hello World theme. So now we have a folder that will store all of our custom theme files. We're going to create 2 new files in this folder. So let's go ahead and copy the path to that folder. If you're on Windows, you'll just see a button copy path at the top here of your Finder. If you're on Mac, you have to right click on the folder and then you have to hold the Alt key and you'll be able to copy the Hello World theme as a path name. So that way we have the path to this folder because we're going to create 2 new files inside of this folder. Now you could create them manually, but I'm going to create them via my terminal or command prompt application. Here I am in my terminal on Mac, known as the command prompt on Windows. We're going to call CD to enter a specific folder. Then we're going to paste that path that we just copied with Control or Command V. Then we can hit enter, and now we're inside of our project theme folder. Here we're going to create a new file. If you're on Windows, you use Notepad as the command to create a new file. If you are on Mac, you use Touch. Then you have to pass in the file name. So let's create our first file, which will be index.php. This will store the entry point to our new theme. If you're on Windows, you can list out the contents of your folder with the dir directory command. If you're on Mac, use ls instead. And you can see we now have one file inside of our theme folder, index.php. Now let's open index.php. You can do that with a code editor or with your notepad or even right here in your terminal if you have Nano. You can open index.php. So you can actually edit the file right here in the terminal. And let's just put in some simple content into this file. So in a PHP file, you can include PHP and also HTML to create the structure of your website, what you want to show on the web page. So let's just put in a heading 1, the largest heading, and let's call this My Hello World Theme. Okay, that will just be a large heading on our page. So here we just have a heading 1 opening tag. The text will be My Hello World Theme, and then we have a closing heading 1 tag. Now we have to save this file. So if you're on Nano, we are going to use here Control X, then yes and enter. And we're back inside of our terminal, out of Nano. Let's create one more file, and that will be our styles file for some quick and easy styling for the site. So for that, we are going to use Notepad if you're on Windows or Touch if you are on Mac, and we'll create style.css for custom styling of the site. And here we could put in some styling, or we can just leave this empty for now and we can add styling later. So how do we actually now see our web page, because we should have a heading 1? Well, if we want to actually implement this theme into WordPress, we have to install the WordPress dashboard. So coming up next, we're going to learn how we can install WordPress locally for free so that we can host a local version of WordPress. There are many other ways to host WordPress to be able to start previewing your themes. And we're going to be using MAMP for the hosting. So go to MAMP's official website, mamp.info. Here I am on their official documentation, and go to the Downloads tab. Here you can download MAMP and MAMP Pro. So select the recommended version of MAMP for your computer, and this is going to save as a PKG file that you can open immediately. Opening the PKG file will take you to the installer. So just go through all of these steps for the installation here. You can hit continue, read the README as well, and read the license agreement. Make sure you agree. Then hit continue, hit agree, and you will need about 1.82 gigabytes of space on your hard drive. Here, enter in your user administration password for your computer. Once the software is installed, you can then open up the MAMP application from your applications folder. Make sure you open the regular MAMP application, not MAMP Pro, which is paid. So here I am in my applications folder in my Finder, and I can see I have MAMP as well as MAMP Pro. So we want to use MAMP, which is the free version, and that is the only version that we'll need. Inside of the MAMP folder, you have several subfolders. All we have to do is just open up the MAMP application here, which just says MAMP and has the MAMP logo. All right, and here we go. We are in MAMP. Before we get started with MAMP, we are going to set some settings that will make our MAMP experience more efficient. You can also take a tour of MAMP if you're interested, of the MAMP Pro. So to set the different preferences of MAMP, you just have to go up to the header of Apple, go to MAMP, and then select Preferences. Then here you'll be taken to the Preferences page for the MAMP application. All right, what we want to set is the ports. We want to change the Apache port. We'll change this to 80. Setting Apache to use port 80 will allow us to access our local websites from localhost instead of having to go to localhost at port 8888. This does mean, however, that each time we start our MAMP servers, we'll have to provide the admin password for our computer, but that won't be too often. Our next step is going to be to set the document root folder. This is the folder where you'll store all of your websites. By default, MAMP will use a subfolder inside of itself, but that can be annoying to access, so instead we'll set it to a more convenient folder. For that, we are going to go into Server, and here we can see we have document root, and we can choose a different document root. So click choose, and just as I did, you can change your document root. So I've changed mine to be my documents folder under my user account, and then I created a subfolder called WordPress websites to store all of my websites. So you can do the same, so that way it's easier for you to find these websites. Awesome. Okay, now we can start opening up our web start page via the MAMP application window. So I'm going to hit OK. And at the top here, we want to click Start, and then we'll be able to start our web page. Here, as mentioned, you have to enter in your user password to launch its helper tool to be able to start and stop servers, change users, and use cloud functions. One more thing we need to do is to copy our WordPress folder that we downloaded in our previous section, and we need to paste it into our MAMP document root folder. So here I'm inside of WordPress websites, and I am going to just paste here my WordPress folder. And you can also then delete it from your downloads. So this was the download that we got from the official WordPress website in our previous section, and we're just copying that over. You can see inside of here we had all of our WordPress files like WordPress admin, WordPress content, and WordPress includes. So we have pasted that into our document root folder. Now inside of MAMP, we can now press web start. This will take you to localhost/MAMP. Then under tools, we need to select a database because for WordPress to store all of the website data, it needs a database that we create on our end. So to create a database, it's very easy. Just go to tools and select PHP MyAdmin. This will take you to localhost/PHP MyAdmin 5 or similar. And here we can create a new database. PHP MyAdmin is a web-based app that allows you to manage MySQL databases. Here we can click on databases and we can create a new database. Just make sure that you save the database name. So let's call this Hello World Database. Now typically the convention is to use underscores and lowercase letters with SQL, so let's just do Hello World Database here in PHP MyAdmin. Now make sure you save this name because we'll need it right now for our next step. I'm going to hit create, and that will create for me a new database that I can use for my WordPress site. Okay, now if we want to actually start up our website, we can go into our URL. And here in your browser, you're going to type in localhost/WordPress as the URL. And that means that MAMP is going to use localhost as the host for the website. And then /WordPress is the location of our WordPress folder. So if you renamed your WordPress folder, you'll have to put that name here instead. But this is how we're going to access WordPress. Now, if you get a blank page or a message that it cannot find the page, then likely there's some kind of conflict on port 80 or you don't have admin access to port 80. So just go back to MAMP. And here under preferences, you're going to have to just put your port back to 8888 if you can't access port 80 for some reason. Then press OK. It just puts it back to the original settings. And by default, MAMP should start again on its own. Or you can just hit start the web server. All right, so here now I am back at my MAMP page, but instead of being localhost/MAMP, we're at localhost port 8888/MAMP. So from now on, we have to access localhost at this specific port to go to a site. We don't have to reset the database, that's still created, but now we have to go to localhost at port 8888/WordPress, which is the name of our folder inside of our document root directory. So I'm going to hit enter, and now you should see this screen. So whether you're at localhost/WordPress or localhost at port 8888/WordPress, you should see this. This is the WordPress dashboard. So first you have to go through the configuration steps if it's your first time installing the WordPress dashboard and having it hosted locally on your computer. Now again, there are many other ways to host WordPress. We're using a local host because it's free and it's great for developers to experiment building themes and previewing them. Then if you want to publish your site to the web, you have to actually pay for a hosting service. Whereas this local host means that the files are just being shown on your computer, on your local host at your port here. No one else can visit this and see your port. Everyone has their own unique local host with the same port numbers, but just their computer is their local host. Okay, so then we can select the language and press continue. Then here we can pass in information about our database. So click Let's Go. Here you have to put in the database name that we entered for our SQL database. In my case, that was hello_world_database. Now on Mac, the username and password have to be root. The database host will be localhost because we're hosting our WordPress site and our database locally on our computer instead of live on the web. And the table prefix will be WP_, just the default. All right, then we can hit submit and we can run the installation. For the WordPress installation, to launch the WordPress admin dashboard, we need to put in some information like a site title. I will call this Mammoth Interactive. Here you can set a username and a password. So I recommend having a secure username and password. I'll change these shortly. Also enter in an email, and you can discourage search engines from indexing the site if you're just developing this and you don't want it to show up on the web. Once you've entered the credentials and hit submit, you should see a success message. WordPress has been installed. Then you can press log in, and now you have to use that username and password that you just set to log in to your locally hosted WordPress dashboard. Once you press login, there you have it. You are inside of the WordPress dashboard. Congratulations. So here on the header, we have the home page with some links to WordPress documentation. We have the name of your site, comments. You can create a new post, new media, a new page, or a new user. And you have hello followed by your email that you used to sign in and your name. Then you have your dashboard as the default page that is selected. Here you have a bunch of different tabs at a glance. In the sidebar menu is where you can access different functionalities like posts. You can edit all of your posts. Media, you can add media to your library. Pages, you can create site pages, which are static rather than a blog post. You can look at all of your comments. You can customize your theme appearance. Note here, you already see the theme that we created right here called the Hello World theme. We can click Live Preview to see how our site would look with this theme. It's just loading right now because it's the first time I've selected it. This is a look at the live preview of the theme. So I can see here, I just have Hello World theme, my heading 1 with my text. And this is what we put inside of our index.php file inside of our folder Hello World theme. You can close this to go back. If you want to actually activate this theme, you can press activate because currently our theme is the default theme, which is the latest year. And you can preview your site actually as well if you would like to see what it would look like. For that, just go to localhost port 8888, the port that is hosting WordPress on your computer, and then go to /WordPress, which is the name of our folder where we're hosting our sites. Okay, and that is allowing us to preview the site. So we have Mammoth Interactive, just another WordPress site. And here we have Hello World, welcome to WordPress. This is your first post. So by default, there is already one post under posts called Hello World. You can add a new post right here. You'll be taken to the post editor where you can set a post title like post 2. Then you can enter this is a description into the actual post body. You can customize the post as well with WordPress admin tools. And in the top right, you can hit publish. Then you can go back to localhost port 8888/WordPress, and if you refresh the page, you'll see you have post 2, and if you scroll down, you have post 1. So by default, we're using the default theme for the current year. So I can just go back to my homepage by clicking in the top left the WordPress icon at any time. I see I have my 2 posts now, and under appearance in the sidebar, I can see I'm using the default theme. But I can switch to my own theme. For that, I just have to press the activate button next to my theme name. And now we've changed our theme. So if we go back into localhost port 8888/WordPress and I refresh, look at that. Now my theme is completely changed. I just see my text Hello World theme. So I'm on the exact same page that I just was, but because I changed the theme, I now just see my index.php file, my entry point to the theme, which just had a heading 1. So just like that, you have actually built out your first theme. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to go to training.mammoethinteractive.com. Here you can sign up for the Mammoth Unlimited membership, where you can get access to over 350 courses that we've created.